Good, yeah. Just kind of was limited yesterday. Today was full, so yeah, business as usual. Looks good.
Actually teed up pretty well for that one.
Yeah, it's good.
You don't have to do that. It's not good.
I mean, it's been a joke the whole season. Oh, come on.
I want to ask if there's any difference in limited to limited, but is limited just limited?
No, there's usually just limited. There's varying degrees of it. So yeah.
What does that defense with Vic and their secondary do so well to prevent explosives?
Well, the one thing with Coach Fangio's defense throughout the years, they do a very good job putting a top on it. You know what I mean? And they play so to prevent those big plays. Those DBs do a really good job just kind of not allowing you to get behind them. So these guys are no different. I think the first time we played them, it was their first game, with him as the defensive coordinator, and there was some blown coverages and things like that where we had some guys really open down the field. But as the season's progressed, these guys have done a really good job, preventing those big plays. And you can see, in their statistics where they're the top-ranked defense in a lot of categories. So we're going to have our hands full. These guys are really good, but we're really excited about the challenge and getting after them.
How do you counter that without Christian and being able to generate stuff?
We have speed in a lot of different areas. Obviously Christian with his size and his speed, he's an elite player. And with him going down last week, it's unfortunate. But I feel really good about our depth. Obviously our tight ends may have to play a bigger role, just depending on how the game goes. But we have speed in other areas. We have good depth at wide receiver in that room, so I'm confident in those guys to go out there and play well.
You mentioned tight ends. Tucker is a guy that does basically everything that a tight end is required to do. I'm curious, is it the blocking, is it the pass catching that's more important to the offense?
I think it's both, really. Anytime you can find a tight end that has the ability to do both and be pretty good in the run game and in the pass game, it just allows them to be on the field more. It allows you to just, all right, let that guy go play, and whatever situation we're in, that guy has the ability to affect the offense, whether it's blocking or making plays down the field in the pass game. So, he's just a very good weapon for us, and just the physicality that he plays with, whether he's blocking or he has the ball in his hand. And the one thing, I don't know, many people notice just how well he is on the move too, just in the run game, moving around, doing the different shifts and motions and stuff like that. He does a really good job.
Steno, what do you think of what Dontayvion has done over the second half of the season, and how do you view what, again, he's not the same player as Christian, but you're going to need him and Jaden and Rome especially to rise up. How ready is he for that?
Oh yeah, he's definitely ready, and you see it. You see his talent. You see all the things that he's able to do and what he has done. He can make some great plays. He runs great routes. He blocks. He does everything you can ask him. And any young player is going to go through some ups and downs, just like he has. But he's come out the other end and done a really nice job over this last half of the season. So I'm excited for him. I'm looking forward to watching him go out there on Sunday and play well.
We saw what Bo did late last season. We saw what Heath did on the play against the Bears. I mean, I'm not saying that those guys would be 3s and 4s or 2s and 3s on other teams, but do you feel like those two guys, without Christian, can actually be part of the rotation?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they're going to have to be. You know what I mean? That's the situation we're in right now, and I'm excited about it because, again, like I said, I think we have some really good talent, and we're pretty deep in the wideout room right now. So, just let those guys step up and watch them make some plays.
Jaden Reed had a huge game, maybe his best game of the year in the opener against these guys. He's been quiet for quite a while now. What's happened to his game? Where is he at?
He's good. I think, just one of those things where he got hot, and I wouldn't say he's been super quiet, but it's just one of those things where he just hasn't made as many impact plays as he had earlier in the season. But the one thing about him is he has that ability to make those plays and really affect the game. So at any time, you get the ball in his hands, something special can happen.
What's the challenge at the middle of the defense with those big tackles and then the linebacker?
Yeah, so, I mean, these guys really don't have a weak spot on their defense. The one thing that, is pretty impressive about watching those guys play is just how hard they play. They're very physical players. You can tell, they're both young players, and they play with some good intelligence. They can sniff out plays, and they do a good job jumping around blocks at times. And then they're both really good pass rushers. A lot of times when you get D tackles that have that size, they sub them out in passing situations, but for the most part, like Carter, he stays in the whole game. So he can play in all different situations. So that's pretty impressive. And then their linebackers, Dean and Bond, are very impressive. They run to the ball. You can tell they're very instinctual. They make plays. They're playing at a really high level.
Do you recall what you were thinking, or maybe what you guys were talking about on the way home from Philadelphia after Jordan played there in, 22? What you thought of that night about it? Yeah,
I mean, it was one of those games, Aaron went down, Jordan stepped up, and he got us kind of back into the game. He did a nice job, and anytime a young quarterback that's a backup goes in, you're not really sure what's going to happen, and he stepped up and responded, and I think the team rallied around him, and he made some good plays. So, I think we were disappointed, obviously, that we lost that game, but encouraged, I guess, by that performance when Jordan came in and did that.
Hey, Adam, I don't want to bore you with superlatives, but with the 2022 draft class, those 3 offensive linemen you guys got with Tom, Walker, and then obviously Sean, it's pretty impressive the amount of starts, production that have come out of one class. Mm-hmm. Just what have you thought of those 3 together, and just kind of the impact that they've kind of made, over the last 2.5 years now?
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously made a huge impact. Anytime you can get those guys to start as many games as they have, it's been pretty cool. And they've all kind of taken different paths, Zach kind of made an impact early at different spots, but you saw his impact early his rookie year. And Sheed, he kind of stepped up his second year. Sean, as the second year went on, kind of played a bigger and bigger role, and now this year's kind of taken over a starting spot. So it's been cool. And they're all, it's a tight room, and those guys battle, and they do everything you want of them. So they're fun to coach, and it's just fun to kind of watch their development.
How has visits from coaches like Campen, Sala, Etsy help you or Matt when they're here observing pitching?
Yeah, it's always cool to talk to those guys, especially, when they've gone other places and then they come back. They have different perspectives on a multitude of different things. But then just them standing kind of off to the side and observing, they have a different view on things than you normally would. So it's good just to hear, their perspective on things, whatever it is. And just nice to see a friendly face too.
Is it more kind of a self-scouting feel as opposed to,
Yeah, self-scout and helping out, scouting the opponent's defense or offense, whatever task they're tasked with. It's great to have those guys because they're all very smart and established coaches. So hearing their viewpoint's been very helpful.
Steno, a lot of people look at the Packers offense and feel there's more of a power aspect to it, a more physical aspect to it, and a lot of it's attributed to Josh Jacobs and the way he runs the ball. Mm-hmm. How much of it is the people up front on your offensive line? Is this a more physical line that you guys have developed than you had maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think so, and it's just kind of the mindset that we've kind of developed over the season, whatever happened as we've gone along, just kind of leaning on the run game and doing that. I'd say so. But Josh, it always starts up front, but Josh is kind of the one that everyone kind of rallies around. He makes those plays, breaking those tackles and stuff. It's been fun to watch.
So, speaking of Josh, I was asking halfway about this too. Were you at this dinner at Lodge Kohler the night before when you guys were recruiting him and McKinney?
No, I was not there, no.
Did your invitation get lost?
Yeah, it was in the mail. I just missed it, yeah.
Okay, well, even though you didn't get to go to the dinner, I mean, it sounds like it was a pretty crucial piece of the recruiting pitch to him. And has he been, I mean, we just gave him our award for him and McKinney both for their cooperation with us. Like, I'm curious, has he been everything you could have imagined and more? Because you were also an Aaron Jones guy, and I know how much you loved him.
Oh, yeah.
It's not exactly an easy.
No, he has. He definitely has. You know, and anytime you bring a guy in, you know, that you don't know, you never know kind of how the situation's going to play out. But he came in day one, and you could tell he was hungry. You know, he wanted to be in a winning program, and he wanted to come in here and compete. And he's done everything that we've asked of him. And, you know, really kind of just the offense kind of runs through him. And it's been great.
Decide to do more duo and less outside zone as soon as you got him? How did that, because it does...
No, it was kind of a process you just go through, kind of just seeing what we're having success with, what we're doing, and just kind of what we're doing as an offense. You always have to adjust and kind of lean on what you're excelling in, you know.
Never really know what I'm looking at in the springtime without the pads when it comes to the running game. Obviously, with they're not hitting.
Yeah,
You're coming, yeah, I doubt that. You were coming off of Jordan having this rise late last season, not really knowing Josh that well up close. Did you have a sense back then, even that the offense would, you know, kind of develop in this way, where you'd have this power running offense, and this would be the identity of this team?
Not really, no. You can see it from like his film, you know, previous years with all that stuff, but you just kind of let it flow. You know what I'm saying? Just let the offense go, and then as it goes, you kind of work your way one direction or the other. But the thing, like, you know, when you have the off season with no pads, it's hard to do those downhill runs. You know, you really have to. It's more of passing and things like that. So you got to wait till camp comes around when you get the pads on and the preseason and all that stuff to really start working on all that stuff. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that you just got to see kind of how it goes and then, you know, move one way or the other depending on what direction you like.
2 more, please.
Do you meet with Sala? Does Matt handle that? How does that kind of work logistically?
Yeah, he'll have his notes, you know, and if he's in town, then yeah, he'll meet with us and be in our meetings and all that stuff. But if not, you know, he'll have his notes or Zoom or whatever, just to kind of give his 2 cents on everything.
So he sits in on offensive staff meetings. Is that?
Not all the time, but yeah, when he's available.